Hi guys, this is the solution video for the most recent quiz on topic 3, negative exponents. So this is the 4A sections quiz, so only the 4A class. If we look at number 1, we have multiplication happening, which means the rule is to add our exponents. So we end up adding 5 and negative 13, which gives us x to the negative 8th power. Now, because we have to only have positive exponents in our final answer, we need to move this to the other side of the fraction. If we don't know what side it's on, you can make it a fraction by putting it over 1. Now I can see that I need to move it to the denominator, which means it will become x to the positive 8th in the denominator. And because there's nothing left in the numerator, I do need 1 as a placeholder. Number 2, normally right now we would do our division rule, but we have 3 different letters. We don't have any repeat letters, and we don't have a fraction in front that we can reduce. So the only thing that this problem is going to ask us to do is to move our negative exponents. So for my final answer, I can keep 3a to the 6th in the numerator, but my other 2 letters are going to switch to the opposite side of the fraction. B to the negative 9 is going to go to the denominator and become b to the positive 9. C to the negative 11 is in the denominator and it's negative, so it's going to move to the numerator and become c to the positive 11. You can write your numerator in whatever order you want. You could have done 3c to the 11, a to the 6, then that's okay. I'm also all right with if you had a 1 in front of that b. So all we had to do for that one was move our negative exponents. Now number 5 is our division rule. So again, I like to always start with those coefficients. So if I look at 4 over 8, I ask myself, okay, is that a fraction that I can reduce? That answer is yes. 4 over 8 reduces to 1/2. Then I look at my exponents and I need to subtract them. So I have negative 6 in the numerator, negative 1 in the denominator, so when I subtract those two, I get f to the negative 5th power. Reminder that if we subtract a negative, it changes to adding a positive. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. Then we repeat this process with the next letter, which in this case is g. There's a 4 in the numerator, a negative 4 in the denominator, and when we subtract, we end up with g to the positive 8th. Once again, subtracting a negative changes to adding a positive. And last, we have the h's. We have a 9 in the numerator. Now, if we don't see an exponent in the denominator, it really has a 1. So we take 9 from the numerator and subtract 1 from the denominator, which gives me h to the 8th power. So I use my division rule. Now I have to check to see if anything needs to move. In this case, I do have a negative power with that f. So we have to move it to the denominator and make it positive. So for my final answer, I leave everything else. The only thing that's moving is the f, so that means I have g to the 8th and h to the 8th staying in the numerator. If I wanted to keep the 1 there, that's all right with me. Then I keep the 2 in the denominator, but it is now joined by the f variable, which now changes from negative 11 to positive 11. All right, taking a look at number 4, we have a fraction to a power. So we always check the inside to see if we can simplify that first. For this problem, we have an x in the top, a w in the bottom. Nothing reduces for this. So our first step is to change the negative 3 to a positive 3. But if I do that, I have to flip everything inside exactly as it is. So whatever was in the denominator is now in the numerator. Whatever was in the numerator is now in the denominator. Now I have a positive 3rd power. So now I do my power rule. So I need to do it in both the numerator and the denominator of the fraction. So when I finish out my power rule in the numerator, 5 to the 3rd power is 125. And then the special rule is to multiply those exponents. So the 2 on the inside with the w gets multiplied by the 3 on the outside to get a 6 power. And the same thing in my denominator. Power to a power, multiply your exponents. The 11 on the inside times the 3 on the outside gives me x to the 33rd power. All right, so for number 5, it was figuring out why this answer wasn't okay. The 3 things we check for: is the fraction fully reduced? There's no fraction to reduce, it's just got a 4 in the denominator, so then we look for the next thing. Each variable can only be written once. That's true. The last rule is that we can't have negative exponents, so that y to the negative second would have to be rewritten and write it in the numerator. So we didn't actually have to redo the problem, explain why this would not get full credit on an assessment. Negative exponents are not allowed in final answers. In case you're curious as to what the answer would be, that 4 would stay in the bottom, the x to the 12 would stay in the top, but the y to the negative second would move to the numerator and become positive 2. Again, you didn't have to correct the answer, you just had to identify what it was. And that is it. Thank you for listening.